It dawns on people that there's a CEO, Elon Musk, who literally says, I don't want to get paid unless I create the largest company in the world.
2012, that's when the first compensation package was released. What happened a year after? Stock went up 400%. 2018 was the other one. And then 2 years later, it goes as high as like 1700%, essentially almost 20x. And now we're here in 2025. Joe, is this
Pejjy, what I can tell sentiment is shifting with this package. I think you're totally right.
It is.
Because now people is like, this is not a joke anymore. I think there's no doubt in my mind that this will be guaranteed at 20 trillion if it has 400 billion EBITDA. There's no doubt that it's at 50 PE. So you can be 1,000,000% guaranteed it's at 20 trillion or much higher at 400 billion EBITDA. Tesla's market cap will be twice the size of the United States GDP.
Let's go. Welcome back, everybody. We've got Joe, and it's always a pleasure having you on, Joe. You know, I really want to have you on a weekly basis, but at the moment, it's tough to do that. But once I have free time, we can fix this on a weekly basis because the audience love it. The audience love it when you and I do a podcast. They absolutely love it. Everyone who doesn't know Joe, you guys, how could you not know Joe? I bring him so many times on the channel. He talks about Tesla. I talk about Tesla. We're both Tesla bulls. He has some great thoughts. Follow him in the links in the description on his X, YouTube, and on his Pioneer Lands, which I think there's some special things coming on that very soon. So thank you, Joe, for joining.
It's a pleasure to be here, Pejjy. I can't believe how long it has been. I think the last time I was on your channel, I was in Italy in February. Yeah, I was in Italy secretly. You didn't even see it on the camera.
I didn't,
but
no.
I remember. So it's good to be back. Insane things have happened in the meantime. It's always good to see when I was last time, February, what happened in between. Crazy. Especially what happened to the stock price. Not much. So that's even crazier.
Yeah, the compensation package that got dropped, that was something that we were all anticipating to see. And now that it's dropped, and I think most people are bullish on this. I don't know anyone who isn't bullish on this. Bring 8.5 or, produce 7.5 trillion, take home 1 trillion. What are your thoughts on this? This is insane. This is just an insane
I just did a video
package.
on it, and it's funny because everyone in the know knew this is going to happen. We all knew, okay, we know the deal. I knew it actually at very high resolution. I know Elon wants to get to 25%. He needs to get 12% because he has 13%. You can do the math.
Yeah.
I have another special theory why it's exactly 1 trillion and why the actual market cap objectives of Elon don't make much sense compared to the operational objectives. So when you look at the milestones, how he gets paid, $400 billion in EBITDA, and 8.5 trillion in market cap don't add up, right? If you make $400 billion with Optimus and everything, you don't have a PE of 20, you have a PE of 80. So this market cap is actually much lower than it should be compared to the other objectives. So the objectives that put in the milestones for Elon make a lot of sense. They're very fair, in my opinion. Huge, difficult milestones, but the valuation milestones are a joke. And I think there's a reason for it. I'm not going to go into it, but I have a theory. I have to retain the theory because it's new. But I will explain to people why this is. But the bottom line is we all knew this is coming. And yet, when it actually drops, and it is in the press, 1 trillion package, 8.5 trillion, 7.5 trillion added value in the future, 7 times more than now, 8 times more than now. It still instills a sense of craziness, insane upside and bullishness into everyone, even if you knew it's coming. And I think you see that with the stock went up, but you can sense it how the whole sentiment around Tesla is changing because it's still a different thing. If this is signed by the board, soon signed by the shareholders, signed off by Elon and the SEC and everyone, it dawns on people that there's a CEO, Elon Musk, who literally says, I don't want to get paid unless I create the largest company in the world. And I'm not just saying this as a PR coup. I'm tying my entire compensation on it. And I want you guys to give me $1 trillion. And every sane person who sees that says, sure, he should get $1 trillion if he gets that.
Yeah.
And when you let that sink in, that there's no one saying this is a bad idea,
That's right.
no one knows even what to say. You're either a bull says yes, exactly, or you're an anti-Tesla and Elon person, then you are silent because you think, I don't know what to say about this because there's no argument against it, even if I hate everything. And so I think this is it is a game changer, even though it was obvious, just because it happens exactly the way we thought, because now it's real. And now the game is on.
Yeah. When I was reading it, it dropped on Friday. I was in shock to see how detailed it was. Like product details, like there's 20 million Tesla vehicle deliveries. I mean, they're only 12 million away. I think they can achieve that by 2030, probably even sooner. 10 million active FSC subscriptions. I think they're only at 500,000 at the bullish case at the moment. So that's amazing. 1 million bots deliveries. I mean, this was when I saw this, I'm like, my God, because if Tesla does 1 million in bots or even 1 million robotaxis, it's going to continue growing the year after that.
It's like, and that's exactly right. Like 1 million bots is the same as 1 million robotaxis. It's way too much for a case where this whole thing doesn't really happen. And if it really happens, it's way, way, way too little to stop there. So it's like this thing. It's like, okay, if you don't believe in bots, this is a crazy number. But if they reach 1 million, they are going to 1 billion bots.
Yeah.
And if they reach 1 million robotaxis, they're going to 100 million robotaxis.
That's right. That's right.
And so it's a little bit, it's the ultimate litmus test, right? It's so real. This is an SEC filing. This is not a joke. It's like reviewed by tons of people, by accountants. It's super real, the whole thing. And I think that's the difference.
I was surprised to see that I didn't see energy here. I would expect, I thought that energy would be, because energy, they're saying, Elon has said that it's a much bigger business than FST and Robotaxi. So, I guess my theory here is that the bot and the Robotaxi is so big and the 20 million vehicles are so big, and we're already going to a world of electric where the batteries and mega packs and the energy section of Tesla is going to grow anyways, which is why
it's in
I
the
think
EBITDA milestones. It goes into EBITDA, so it's kind of indirectly there.
Yes, and the fact
that I just did my video out today or on Monday on the energy, and in my calculation, energy alone is going to deliver 100 billion in EBITDA soon, probably within 5 years, within 4 years. So that's just energy. That's not even on here.
My God, no, energy is big, and that's why I thought about it. I'm like, okay, with all this, I think but seeing the adjusted EBITDA here, that shocked me about this pay package was because he doesn't get the last two trenches, and there's a lot of things tied to the last two trenches, which I really like. Right, first has to reach 400 billion in adjusted EBITDA. I mean, that is insane. Like, 400 billion in EBITDA, Joe, help me out here. How much is that in net income after depreciation, taxes, and expenses? Like, how much would that be? Like 200, like, let's just say half that, 200 billion.
I mean, it depends if you want to look at free cash flow or something. It depends on CapEx. It depends on a lot of things. But I mean, 200, it's some crazy number. Yeah. It's hard to tell. That really depends on what they do to get there. And it also depends what they do, looking beyond that. I don't know what they do. If they build deep space stations for 200 trillion, that's a lot of CapEx and then depreciation. So if they keep growing like crazy, that number is actually lower, right? That's the crazy thing. If they would stop growing, free cash flow approximates EBITDA at some point. But if you just keep going like nuts, then, it stays low because you're investing. I think it doesn't matter. And that's also how no one thinks, because the EBITDA multiple they will get also hugely a function of net income. Like the lower the income, the higher the multiple, because it's going to be, if everything goes still into growth, which lowers income, you get higher multiples on EBITDA because people think, oh my God. Like I tell you, if Elon takes care of his health, that's my biggest concern. So if he in 10 years is still fresh and young, powerful, I hope, because there's so much. Did you see Putin and Xi talking about exchanging their organs and not dying? So I hope if these people can do it, then Elon should definitely do it. If Elon can just keep going another 20, 30, 40 years, which might be in the cards, even though Elon is not nice to his body, but the technology is catching up rapidly. There is no end in sight here. If you keep thinking in first principles, you have to remember he just pulled Optimus out of a hat. He pulled off the greatest business model of all time just as a side gig out of his sleeve. So he can do that every 5 years, right? We think Optimus is the greatest thing that ever happened. That's true, but in 5 years, there's another thing. So,
really,
I mean, I'm sure.
You believe
space, like moon mining.
Right.
I don't know. Like you catch the moon and you have 100 pentillion in commodities and resources. So there's no end. You just have to be smart, and AI and everything. That's what we have to understand. Also, when I analyze the energy opportunity that I always didn't really understand until now. Now I understand it because I analyze and put my first principle hat on and understand it's not about solar. It's not about renewables at all. This is about a massive energy capacity built out across the board to save the United States. And it's all Tesla. That's why it's so big. The role of batteries, of a buffer in the entire grid saves the United States 3 trillion in infrastructure costs is being saved with these batteries if they do it right, of grid upgrades and stuff. It's insane. So that's just a little side gig of Elon. XAI is a new side gig. Literally, the invention of AGI was a side. As long as this continues, there's no end in sight, because fundamentally you can reinvent reality all day long if you keep thinking and executing like this. And his tools just become more powerful. Now he has total access to energy and robots and AI. I mean, that's just a complete force multiplication for the next crazy thing. And I'm not saying we need the next thing. For now, we are fine. For now, we are fine with making 500 trillion or whatever this ends up being in the end. There will be more stuff and it will never end. Because it's logical. This is the point. It's not Elon. It's logical. It's reality. You can re-engineer this thing all day long once you understand first principles and human needs and basic physics and basic I/O manufacturing and energy.
Yeah, that's a lot. The trenches that they have put out here for Elon, what I do like about 7 and 8 trenches is that they've tied it to a succession plan for Tesla, for Elon, saying that not only do you have to hit all these goals, not only do you have to get all these 50 billions or whatever, and not only do you have to hit 8.5 trillion in valuation, which, by the way, I think if it goes to 8.5 trillion, I think it's going to go much beyond that. But yes, you did all that. The only things left is you got to make your succession plan, because yes, we have to face the fact that Elon is the biggest risk of Tesla, right? And that is,
by the way, I agree with you, Pejjy. It's very good that they become a little more corporate about it. I think Delaware, with all this awful stuff, activists, political judges and everything, it still had a good effect that Tesla just closes all the back doors here. They basically say we make this as professional as humanly possible. The whole thing is absolutely waterproof now. That's why they have all the conditions in, very concrete.
Yes.
But when it comes to key man risk, the risk that Elon dies and something terrible happens, I understand that everyone is like, oh, it's so terrible, so risky. But 2 points here. Well, I only make 1 point. We need to be rational about these things. Every time you talk about money and stocks and risk, you can't just say things. You need to think like a professional. And a professional would say, well, what is the risk? What is the quantified risk here? In my model, say it's 2%, which is still higher than it is. How do you get to that risk? If you're an insurance man, for example, you would look at history. How often in history has it happened that a top-notch tech company or any kind of company created by their founder lost the founder in a surprising way? Steve Jobs doesn't count because they had like half a decade time to prepare everything.
Yeah.
Well, a decade, I don't even know, like a long
time. Yeah.
Many years. So when was it the last time that it happened that there was no time to prepare for an exit for many years? And the answer is never. Don't ask me why, but it never happened. It's not like the US president where every 4th one gets shot or something. It's very different. Like with tech CEOs, with fundamentally important founders, they just don't die for some reason, not randomly, because they're very well protected, and just historically the risk is low. So I'm just saying that because if you were to ensure this whole situation, you would look at statistics, right? How often does it happen? What is the risk? And the answer is this kind of risk is extremely low.
Yeah, I agree with you there, because I've always said on my channel, yes, Elon is a risk, but as the years go on, it gets less. Because Elon has said it, I think it was in Q1 earnings, it was a while back. He said that aliens abduct me. Robotaxis will continue to go, and that'll be on the plan and stuff.
Well, I would say, like, if Elon would go missing, it is very, very bad, because there's still too much to do. And Elon has a specific angle that he sits on top. He understands all the technology, vertical integration, economics. He can zero in, as his biographer wrote this, Isaacson, that he said this is his core skill, that he sits on top of a very complicated thing, and he identifies bottlenecks every week and solves the bottleneck, which leads to massive acceleration. And it's very hard to do that. I think no one can do it like Elon in these companies. It would decrease development speed. It wouldn't stop the company. It wouldn't stop any product. Everything would still happen. But this adds up this stuff. That's Tesla's edge. I think Tesla's edge would, at a minimum, be cut in half, even with the greatest person coming after.
Oh, really?
But what I'm saying is it's just very unlikely.
Yeah, that's true. One thing is that when I talk to a lot of Tesla investors, they're all okay with everything. They're saying, yeah, Robotaxi is coming, Optimus. We know that there's a whole bunch of competition. But one thing that they always say is, like, they want to know whose Elon's succession is going to be. They don't like the fact that, okay, everything is on Elon. They want to have someone who is ready to take over. Now, of course, as you mentioned, with Tim Cook and Apple and all these, we never had any of that. I don't think Apple had a succession plan. I don't know. It's just that Steve Jobs
Apple also had enough. I mean, that's what I mean. Even if Elon would get sick or injured or something, this is not like nothing really changes. The only bad thing would be if Elon is suddenly gone from one day to the next. But this is just incredibly rare. I mean, this just doesn't happen. I'm very like a numbers person, a quantified person. So I think that fear is irrational. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I get you. That's one thing that I try to tell the audience, saying that, look, I mean, yeah, Elon is important. It's like he's a risk, but as the years go on, it's not that he's less needed for other things.
And I also would my main argument is not even that, because it would be bad if he would be gone, but it's not the end by any measure. But the main argument is like, dudes, don't be little whiny babies. If you are afraid, how do you face your fears? You take out a Google sheet and put in the numbers. And then is my fear 100% justified, or 90% or 80%? And this fear is justified something below 1%. Because there's simply no, look through Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, take any company. When was the last time that the founder died?
That's right.
Of some giant, momentous tech company? Like, never. Okay, so if it never happened, what are the odds it will happen? Well, statistically, 0. I understand there can still be, but if it's more than 100 of these cases and no one died, it's less than 1%. Just mathematically. And that's how we have to look at it.
No, that's a good way to look at it, looking through statistics and stuff like that. I mean, these goals and milestones and everything attached to it, the board really sat down and they really got grinding. I mean, after all, this is $1 trillion. I mean, look at that, 1 trillion. That is insane. But you know what is interesting? I right before we did this podcast, I was looking at this and I just realized something very, very interesting. So let me go ahead and just, show everybody here as well. Might as well. Let's go to the max. This was interesting. Now, of course, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes, right? 2012, that's when the first compensation package was released, right? 2012. So where's 2012? Right here. What happened a year after? Stock went up 400%, 500%, 600%, whatever. Okay, cool. And then 2018 was the other one, which was, 53 billion. That was the next compensation drop, which now it's in court. Here's 2018. And then 2 years later, it flipping goes up it's insane. It goes as high as 1700%, essentially almost 20x's. And now we're here in 2025. Joe, is this
Pejjy, what I tell everyone, I agree, it rhymes, not the same, but it will rhyme. But what I always tell people, now I sound like very old and wise. I'm not that old, but I'm very wise. So what people always there is one fundamental mistake in investing and trading, which, by the way, is a sliding scale, not just one or the other. Like if you touch your stocks at all, you're also doing a little bit of trading. The biggest fallacy of people is that they look at a stock, and the more it does something, the more they think it will keep doing that. So if Tesla skyrockets, they wait until it skyrockets to the moon and then see, now I go all in. This is crazy. That's exactly when you should not go in. And you know when exactly you should go in? When it side steps for 5 freaking years, which is exactly now.
What's going on now? Yeah.
And because the more you think, you have to fight your intuition on this, because your intuition is extremely wrong. It's a human intuition. If you go to a new tribe, if you're alone in the woods and then you lost your tribe, you see a new tribe, whatever this tribe looks like, oh, they're powerful, they have momentum, I should join them. Yes, do it. If the tribe is in decline, think, I'm not going to go to this tribe. They're all going to be dead soon. That's our intuition. It's correct with the tribes. But when it comes to the market, it's exactly the wrong way, because the market is nasty and it does the exact opposite. Right? When everyone is bullish, sell. If everyone is bearish, buy, because it's the market dynamic. They cannot sell forever. The more they sell, the more it has to go up. That's what people have to develop. It's this counter intuition. It's the contrarian perspective. The VIX, that's why I'm warning people. I think there might be a September-October correction. Then they tell me, oh, look at the VIX. It's like at all times low. It's at 15. It's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Exactly. No, I talk to everyone. No one believes that this is going to crash. Like, yeah, listen to yourself. Or the fear and greed index is low. It's like all the indicators are on red. So anyway, I'm not saying it crashes, but I am also preparing. We have to understand, if Tesla goes sideways like this, first of all, in 2021, Tesla was extremely high. Like, are you kidding me? Do you know how high this thing was for 2021? I mean, look at this run up. Look at this from 2019. Like, are you kidding me? It's insane. Yeah. And then, of course, it goes sideways, and then it's just a correction to some extent. Maybe to 2022, it was rational. Then the drop further, then became irrational. And in all that sideways movement, Tesla hammered away into building the most insane juggernaut infrastructure to take over the world. That's right. So I think we are at a very critical moment now. And I also have my model. I can see how much value would be in here. I think Tesla is undervalued by 50% right now, more than 50%. I'm extremely bullish on Tesla right now for the next 12 to 24 months. I think I really have a hard time seeing how this thing doesn't go massively higher.
You know what I predict that, of course, I think this is going to get passed. And I think one of the biggest risks right now that presents is if it doesn't get passed. And I know I shared it on X and everyone's just like, bro, it's going to get passed. I'm like, I know it's going to get passed. This isn't everybody's benefit. If people are buying the stock just to vote against it, then they obviously don't like Elon. They don't like Tesla. They don't want, they're dumb, just a bunch of stupid people. But, this is going to 69% is going to get passed. I think once it does get passed, I don't want to say that history repeats. It may rhyme here, but I do see Tesla eventually, or at least run to, by end of the year, once it's passed, because now there's milestones and there's something that Elon can focus on to hit, and we investors have something to look forward to as well. I can see Tesla hitting 620 or 2 trillion by end of this year, starting his incentive plans and starting this compensation package. I can see that happening. Obviously not financial advice. My price target is still 575, but I think we could see a nice run up.
You could be right if there's any significant catalyst. And I think the catalysts are all over the place. They could, the affordable model will launch October 1st. That's what people also completely ignored. Like, oh, no affordable model. Like, bros. The odds that this thing does not launch October 1st is less than 1%. It will launch.
You think it's going to launch October 1st?
Yeah, exactly after the credits expire.
That would be insane.
It's going to launch 1 second after midnight.
Man, I can't wait. I mean, we haven't seen any leaks of it, which is interesting.
Because I tell you, I know exactly what's going to happen on that front. I will go to this in a second. But the second thing is Robotaxi. That's right. I also think the safety driver will be removed in November.
Elon was talking about end of the year, though. But that's pretty much November, December time, I guess.
Right. So maybe it's December, but I said November a long time ago. I'm sticking to it for now. I have no reasons to change. But if that happens, that's also an insane catalyst. People underestimate how big, because then everyone sees there's no one in the car. It makes a big psychological difference. And then the affordable model, back to that. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be boring and it's going to be cheap. It's going to be a Model Y stripped down. And so there will be a lot of disappointment with Tesla fans because they were waiting for some crazy thing. But don't forget, when it comes to affordable cars, look at the demand curve. I don't know if you guys have seen that demand curve. If you drop below 32,000 or something, your market 5x's. The TAM for these cars expands by 500%. Very binary at this 30,000, 32,000. And why does it expand? The total number of people who would buy a Tesla increases by 500%. There's a demand curve in the automotive industry. If you drop below a certain price point, you capture vastly larger shares of the market because people are very price sensitive around that thing. So the theory is basically if you spend $50,000 on a car, but then there's a car that costs 60,000, you might just buy the 60,000 if you like it more. But if you're in the market for a car at 28,000 and the thing costs 32,000, you're not going to buy it because you're on a budget. So the $50,000 car buyer, they can buy a $60,000 car if you convince them. Not so down here. So down here, it becomes all a price question. And that means what is it not if it's a price and cost thing? It's not a sexiness thing. The Model Y is sexy enough for people who want to spend 30,000, but they can't afford it.
That's right.
So it's not about excitement. It's about getting the price to where it needs to be. So if they can get the headline number around 30,000, even if it's a little higher, it unlocks 500% potential growth. Boom.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why people like Gary Black, very conservative growth investors, I had to fight with Gary on X. I'm not going to try to not offend Gary. Gary is more, takes a conservative stance and focus on cars and says, oh, we need the affordable model. He will get the affordable model October 1st because Tesla has prepared the entire launch of this car for July 1st, 3 months ago. It was all lined up. They were absolutely ready. Then Trump comes along, gets in a little fight and says, oh, and Congress removes the tax credit. Surprisingly, that was not in the cards. And that shifted the entire game because by removing the tax credit from EVs and it expires October 1st or September 30th, there's a massive run, counterintuitively, a run on Tesla. So the Q3 we are looking at right now will be the best quarter in Tesla's history. No one expected this. So Tesla will sell this like hotcakes. So what do you not do? You don't launch an affordable model. If everyone runs to your expensive models and buys them like insane. So they are not going to launch it. They said, oh, very nice. So let's delay the launch. And all the people say, but Tesla is screwed in Q4 because the tax credit is gone. And then bing, it goes up like crazy in Q3 and then it evaporates and Tesla is broke. But what they don't understand is, well, Tesla already has this thing. The launch probability is 100% because they're already 3 months late voluntarily. So they have absolutely prepared that launch.
That's right.
So on October 1st, they're going to say, surprise. Now it's even cheaper than it was with the tax credit because it's a new model. Boom. And that will more than offset any kind of losses. They will sell, they will have the best quarter in the history of Tesla.
Yes,
in Q4.
I agree. Yeah,
that's what
Q4. Q3 is looking good already. Q4, I think, with the affordable model, I think it's going to be good.
And so then the sentiment will shift. Right now, so Tesla is the end, blah, blah, blah. Then they will have the best quarter in the history, followed by the even better best in the history. And energy, the energy thing, I will make it clear on my channel, and then it trickles down all the way to Wall Street very quickly. I will make clear to people, do you even understand that this energy opportunity is not pie in the sky? It's here. There's massive demand pressure on getting this stuff. It's an infinite market. They can sell every single mega pack they produce in infinity, like for the next 10 years. It is a national security top priority. It's a $100 billion EBITDA per year opportunity that is urgent, where the roof is on fire in the White House to get this done, and in the Pentagon, and in NVIDIA and Microsoft. And Tesla is the only one who can solve this. So Elon just has to figure out the manufacturing methods. And why this is new news is because it only is true after Biden did this thing, which was good, like the incentives. So only since 2024, when the courts, the SEC, whoever, decided the specifics of these credits. They were launched in 2022 mid. Then Tesla had to wait for SEC and IRS to clarify these things so they could actually plan. Then they knew what it is. And since 2024, they can only plan massive ramp up of manufacturing because of massively expanded margins. And now AI comes on top of it. Infinite demand, infinite national security interest, infinite tailwinds from all governments in the US. So between cars, affordable cars, and energy, you are suddenly looking at a completely different picture of Tesla, like massive growth. And then you have these insane things on top, Robotaxi and Optimus.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And so all this happened by end of the year. Totally different picture, plus compensation plan. So I do agree with Pejjy. The sky is the limit.
So what do you think? I know last time you said stock price 1,000 by year end. Do you still stick with that?
Well, the fair value of the stock in my
Fair
model
value
is,
I see.
What's the latest? I adjusted it a little bit because now I have a bull case, base case, and bear case, and my base case is slightly lower than my original one case. And the bull case is much stronger. I think it's 850 or something end of the year.
850. Yeah. I see some people online, they're talking about guys who are experts in trading. They're calling for like 930 or something.
Well, technically, if you ask me, is it possible that Tesla goes over 1,000 by end of the year? I say absolutely. I think there's a 10%, 15% chance it goes to 1,000 plus.
That's
but
insane
it's not my main. I don't think it's likely. I think your number is it's a good middle of the road, realistic target. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Hopefully, I can get that 3 years in a row. Get right on, you know.
I think this
is a lot of things,
and I really hope that I'm right. First of all, I would look like a total genius. If the market actually crashes, if there's actually a correction in 2 weeks, I will sell it. I will rub it into everyone's face, because the more it doesn't happen and the more this stuff happens, the more people think Joe is wrong. They hammer me and I say, "Oh, Joe, you were so smart. Do you still think there will be a correction?" It's like nothing changed in my assessment. I
kind of hope so. Unpopular opinion. I kind of hope there's a correction. I need more stock.
Exactly, because everything we discussed is 100%. I'm 100% convinced we are on a massively bullish run with Tesla. I'm also convinced that we are massively bullish overall on the market. I'm not bullish on the economy, but on the market. But I'm also convinced, for many reasons, there are indicators that make a seasonal correction 50% likely. And then I have these stupid dates on X where, 50%, so you can't decide. Like, bros, I can't even start to explain probabilities to you. But saying there's a 50% chance of a correction is a big, bet, because it's not what normally the probabilities are in the next 6 weeks or 5 weeks at this point. So I still stick to it, and I think I will adjust my take on this correction if it doesn't happen in the next 2 to 3 weeks after the Fed meeting. I think the Fed meeting would be my first big bet that something goes wrong, because it's very hard to go right when you think about it. They're going to cut, of course. I mean, of course, if they don't cut, then it's all who knows what's happening. But they will cut. But then there's a sell the news thing, because everyone knows that they're cutting, so they price it in. If they say anything not perfect, it's a little weak, the labor market or the economy is a little weak, or maybe we delay the next cut, or we cut more than expected because we're so scared. Like, there are 10 million ways how this can go wrong, and only one way how it cannot go wrong, not even right. But they could say, like, we are very confident the labor market is just a blip, it's going to be stabilizing. We are bullish on the economy, and we are cutting exactly what you expect. That could be slightly bullish, but not really. Still sell the news. So that is my take. And if it happens, it will be golden for me and you. Yeah. Because if this drops stock 30% or something, if there's a market correction of 10%, Tesla will drop 20%. That's also what people don't understand, right? If there's a correction, no one cares.
Made of 2 to 3.
No one's like, there's battery and energy. People freak out, and all the index funds and all the stupid mutual funds like sell everything. That's what they do. There's no holding back, right? Tesla will go down at 2x the market, because this will be super fast. It will be a week, and then it's over, and there's a V-shaped recovery, and then it goes exactly back up and then more. And that will be the best opportunity ever, because I'm so bullish.
Yeah, I'm waiting until I haven't been buying. I've just been reserving cash just for an opportunity. Go and bite into that. So I'm waiting for that, because as you said it, from now to end of the year, there's a lot of good things happening. Again, the comp package is one of the biggest tailwinds that we got, because now it's like
I mean, as I said, it's like the mega pack. Let's see what happens tonight. But if that really opens people's minds, plus my video that I will have multiple videos on this, because this is insane. Energy, affordable models, Robotaxis, and everything on the foundation of the package grows. Plus, there's Optimus. What if they just do an Optimus What if suddenly, in December, Elon says, by the way, here's Optimus V3? I mean, there's just too much upside.
There is a lot of upside. Yeah. So that's why I'm waiting until I can get into. But yeah, from now to end of the year,
But
there's a lot
I
of good
want
upsides.
people to understand. When I talk, listen to my numbers, right? You can't just say, "Oh, Joe thinks there's a correction." I said exactly what I mean. I think there's a 50% chance, which means there's a 50% chance nothing happens. Tesla just goes up. Okay, so you can't bet on a correction, but 50% is an extremely unusually high chance that there will be a significant drop, which means no margin exposure, no risks. You can't just be bullish on Tesla, but get screwed if it drops 30%. This can absolutely happen in an instant right now. And you need to be safe. It's not the end of the world if you have no margin. Who cares? If your portfolio is down, it just goes back up. But if you get squeezed, you're dead. What I'm saying is, and I don't always have that stance. There are times, for example, if it would drop, that would be one of these times where I go all in. I was like, yeah, I'm happy with some risk now because now I get paid for it.
Sheesh. Yeah. One thing that I do want to go over here is just a quick going over the voting thing. Really, I mean, when you read all these things, I mean, it's the same things over and over again. I mean, the only two things that are very important that I think that all Tesla investors want to vote on is, of course, Elon's comp packet, which is like 4, and the XAI, which I think it's right here. Yeah, shareholder. Yeah, XAI. For some reason, the board themselves are saying that we're not recommending any suggestions, which I think that's stupid in my opinion. I think there should have been. I mean, as a Tesla investor, I am a little bit bummed out that we couldn't invest in XAI from the early days. It was worth 15 billion. That was worth like what 400 billion, or I don't know, something like that. We missed out on like a 400x gain just investing in XAI, which really kind of bothers me a little bit. But we have to vote, in my opinion. I want to know your thoughts here on, of course, the comp package and of course the XAI. These things, the rest I don't really care about. The rest is whatever. It's just these two, the XAI and the public and the proposal for the CEO Performance Award for Tesla, for Elon. These are the most important ones, in my opinion.
I mean, I had a discussion with Herbert about it, and my stance is a little bit on XAI. Obviously, it's important that Tesla has some shares in this.
Yeah.
But there's a conflict, of course, because Tesla should get a much better deal than it does get right now. Because there is some, if you were critical of Elon, which I'm not, but if I would be totally putting my, governance hat on, it's like, dude, what are you, hello, this is all like stuff from Tesla a little bit, like, and whatever, it's like not independent of Tesla, and you just found the company and Tesla has nothing, and now you're selling us back equity for what, 300 billion valuation. So it's a little debatable, the whole thing, but in the end, what are you going to do? So I think it's important that Tesla invests something. I think what would be fair is do it through a share swap, definitely not cash. So, and then it becomes more fair. If you get 10% of XAI for, let's say, 30 billion, would I dilute Tesla by 3%, 1 million%, right? So I would even try to grab more. So I would have absolutely nothing against one day seeing Tesla share drop 5% for dilution reasons, because they're putting 50 billion into XAI, and getting 20% or something. I think that
in the long term it's going to grow. It's going to grow massively. XAI
not just grow, it's also a strategic alliance, right? You want to be, you want to have this thing.
That's right. Yeah,
it's a long story probably for another session, but the whole AI strategy is very important. Like, what is Tesla's AI strategy? What is Elon's AI strategy? How is it different from OpenAI? And why is it so special? Because it's a totally different angle than the rest. I think Elon shoots straight for AGI, and he shoots straight for manufacturing and physics AGI, which is a totally different use case than ChatGPT. Because I always get in trouble with our Tesla fans and Elon fans on X, because I'm saying OpenAI has by an enormous distance the best AI product on the planet. It's the best product. And what I mean with product, not the AI, the product, the way you use this thing and the way it behaves is just vastly ahead of Grok and everyone else. But Elon doesn't care too much about it, because he's about intelligence. He wants the intelligence, because he doesn't even want the product. He wants the thing that he can turn Tesla and XAI into a cybernetic organism, That's a very different application from Sam Altman, who just wants to grab every business in the world to become addicted to ChatGPT, which is also very good for him. These are very different strategies. Elon wants to create one super organism, which is called Tesla. It can literally manufacture anything you want in no time. And that's the purpose of Grok for now. He wants to make this the brain of Tesla. He wants to make Tesla basically a black hole mega vortex that sucks in planets and matter on one side and spits out whatever you want on the other side. I think that's basically what Tesla will be, the vortex. You suck in matter and you spit out value on the other side. You just press a button, say what do you want today. Do you want planets? Do you want deep space stations? What do you want? 10 billion robots? What do you want?
Yeah, and that's going to be...
So I think that's the vision of Elon. And I always have to defend Sam Altman. Like, you have to understand there are other markets that are ridiculously enormous. For example, to turn every single company on the planet into an intelligent organism. That's what Sam wants.
Yeah.
Elon just wants to turn one into a mega organism that sucks in matter and spits out value, which is a very profitable business.
From one that gets integrated to is the Robotaxi with Grok and XI, and we're seeing that.
Right, he also wants to own global transportation, and he wants to own global energy.
Yeah.
And he will probably.
Which is insane. You know, what happened I think it was last week or so, or was it earlier this month, where Robotaxi app just went public. That was awesome. Only for iOS, not for Android. I'm an Android. It sucks that I don't have access to it, but you know, it's coming. But what's interesting here is that prices are lower than Uber's, even with the safety driver. Much drop. Now, I don't know. Is this? Do you think this is a mock price? Do you think this is a price that, you know?
No, they're aiming. They want to. I mean, no one cares at Tesla if they make these tiny little peanuts. If they make 3 times more or less, this is complete peanuts. Everything right now. But at scale, I think they are landing. I think this is all not random. And when they launch this and pilot it and prototype it, they're prototyping everything: pricing, demand, ordering patterns, safety drivers, AI driving. Everything needs prototyping. And I think these prices are not random. I think they reflect where they want to be, which should scare the bejesus.
I mean, when I see the prices, I'm just like,
they're dead. But I said it all the time. Of course they're dead. What do people think? That's when Gary Black or even Bill Ackman and everyone's like, dudes, are you nuts? Like, what? Are you nuts buying Uber?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, sure, you can buy Uber because Uber went up. I'm not blaming these people. Some of them are very smart and savvy. And you never should forget, if Bill Ackman does something stupid that looks stupid, it might still have made him a lot of money because he already made a lot of money with Uber. Who the hell knows when he sells it? Probably now. So I'm not saying Bill is stupid, but he definitely made totally the wrong call. I mean, the interesting thing about these smart, savvy little Wall Streeters is they can make completely wrong calls and still make a ton of money because they make the call, deceive everyone, go in, but then jump ship and don't tell anyone. And then in the end, they actually made money with the wrong call. Yeah. So I'm cautious criticizing Bill, but what he says in public is wrong. Totally wrong prediction and totally wrong bet.
I don't understand. Like they're praising Uber and they're praising all these guys, but it's like some are calling Uber like the future distribution of robotaxis, and that's the most dumbest thing I've heard. And I'm like, how? With what? With what?
But the interesting thing is what we have to understand. We're also educating the viewers, right, on the depth of Wall Street and trading. It's important to understand professional investing. You always have to understand all these pros, especially the hedge fund pros. They're sneaky little bastards, and there's a reason why they make so much money. Because when I say something, I'm an honest Pioneer Lands founder, right? I want you guys to know the future. And I make my successes defined by being right in public. Yeah, that's why I'm aligned. When I say something and I'm wrong, it's embarrassing, and I want to be right. Do you think Bill Ackman cares if you think he's right? He doesn't care. He's happy to be looking like the biggest dumbass. There's nothing that satisfies these people more than looking like the biggest dumbass in public while making $2 billion. So they actually like it. It's not just not embarrassing, they kind of like it. So when he says, oh, Uber is so great, who knows what, like maybe they analyzed Uber, maybe they saw on a value stock it's undervalued, maybe they said, why don't we just buy this, pump the hell out of it, and jump off? They might have already made a killing and are out. You don't know. So they think very differently. Their job is not to say something and be right about it. Their job is to
That's
say
right.
something and make a lot of money. And these
Yeah.
things are not connected. Because he's such a big Uber bull, right, against Robotaxi. He doesn't say Robotaxi will fail, by the way. He says, oh, no, Uber will win. So in COVID, he said, I remember in COVID, what did he do? He did something horrible. He said, like, he was nearly crying on TV. Said his dad is going to die and the world, he truly thinks the world will be ending.
Okay.
And I was like, I know you. It's like, I don't buy it. And he literally did some massive trade like the day before with Hilton Hotels or something. He turned from short to long or something. So he already knew it's bullshit. He already knew it's bullshit when he was crying on TV that he doesn't know what to do anymore and the world is ending. And I knew, dude, this guy, if he cries on TV, there's some sort of plan. He does not do that by accident. So you have to be very cautious. He wanted you to think the world is ending because then the market bottomed right 2 days later, and he already flipped this position. Unbelievable. So if he says Uber is going to win, remember that's the guy who said the world is ending while going long.
That's right. That's Bill Ackman. But how about Gary Black? I don't want to throw shade on him or anything, but Gary Black's pushing Uber, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. We're seeing the numbers coming out now. We're seeing what the prices difference is going to be, and we know that even if Uber signs up with Lucid and the other Zeus company, I don't even know the name of that company, the FSD company, and then with Waymo, and then with other FSD companies that are geofenced and use LiDAR and can't be as scalable as Tesla or cheap as Tesla's rides, Robotaxi rides.
It makes zero sense.
It makes
I'm not saying
sense.
I'm not saying Gary is going to make a lot of money, by the way. That's a different story. But it makes no sense. And I think if you analyze these stocks, you need to be a first principle thinker with a big simulative space in your brain that is independent of the current reality, where you simulate the future reality as accurately as possible and then devise your strategy. And most people are not thinking like that. They just think, oh, cars, affordable model, no affordable model, delayed again, very bad. And they think on Optimus and Robot is like, well, let's wait until it's proven. It's like,
what?
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If you wait until anything is proven, you can also just wait forever because it's too late. Actually, if it's proven, don't buy it. When it's proven, you have to run. There's no upside. The whole point of investing is to invest before it's proven. That's called alpha.
Yes.
You need to invest before you need to invest when you think that your level of conviction and certainty is higher than the perceived market conviction. And when it's proven, that's the point where it's a guaranteed there's no alpha, because how can there be alpha if it's proven? If it's proven, there's no money. That's what's the only thing that's proven.
That's the opportunity right there. That's it. That is
alpha is the differential between your being your conviction and the market conviction, and you're more right than the market. Not like, it's just stupid. This whole wait until it's proven should not be in the investing business.
Yeah, exactly. That's why when I went all in Tesla in 2020, it wasn't because of the auto, it was because of the robotaxis. And of course, that was a big risk back then. But seeing what Tesla was doing with the data and what they were doing with it and how they were, quietly changing. Well, not even quietly, they were doing it in front of us, hiding in plain sight. I don't know if that's the right way to call it, but they were changing the way how they were conducting the cars and how the data they were collecting, and they got versions of full self-driving coming. I'm just like, this is not the end game. Is not to sell cars. The end game is to get self-driving, autonomous cars and robotaxi and stuff like that. And so now we're seeing it, and now people are going like, okay, I see what Pejjy meant all these times. And I'm like, well, it's been flat for 5 years. He's still got time, but I don't know. I don't know it's going to be the case in 2 or 3 years' time. I'm just saying.
I think I can tell sentiment is shifting with this package. I think you're totally right.
It is.
Because now people is like, this is not a joke anymore. Because before they thought like, oh, he's just talking Elon talk. Well, not anymore. It's not talk.
Not anymore. 1 trillion, man. I mean, this is the most ever detailed compensation package I have read anywhere. I've never seen any other company have a detailed compensation like this.
If it pays $1 trillion, the terms better be clear.
The milestones, succession, other things that are tied into it. It's just, and Elon agreed to. That's a great. Like, here's the thing: before we even got this release, Elon's like, yeah, okay, I agree to that. Let's see what the shareholders think. It's just like, yeah, I mean, $1 trillion is $1 trillion. I mean, that's gonna fund my, SpaceX Mars. It's gonna fund Mars. I mean, I'm not gonna say no to $1 trillion. I know I can bring it up to the world's most valuable company. I've said that many times. So yeah, let's do it. What is 8.5? If it goes to 8.5, I think it can go to 15, 16 trillion. I know it sounds crazy.
I think there's no doubt in my mind that this will be guaranteed at 20 trillion if it has 400 billion EBITDA. There's no doubt that it's at 50p. So you can be 1,000,000% guaranteed it's at 20 trillion or much higher at 400 billion EBITDA.
Imagine the growth year over year, like 400 billion EBITDA. What's next year going to be? 450? If it's growing 9%. 9%.
It's gonna be much more than 9%. I have it in the model. Like it's gonna be, yeah. I think for people have the wrong conception of these things. I think this thing can have 10 or 20 trillion in EBITDA before 2040.
That hurts my brain. But I
just did I think yesterday I launched this video that I think it's very reasonable to assume that by 2045. Tesla's market cap will be twice the size of the United States GDP. And then people think, oh, you're crazy again. Like, well, I think NVIDIA can soon be at 30% of GDP of the United States in market cap. At 30%. So if NVIDIA can get to 30% within 5 years, why wouldn't Tesla be at 200% by 2045? So people just forget how it's not just Tesla, it's AI. It's crazy.
Especially with the bots.
And I mean, by the way, twice the size of the United States GDP then in 2045. Now it's
what are we talking? Like 70 trillion, 60 trillion? I mean, these are insane numbers.
300 trillion.
300 trillion. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, people, these are GDP and earth-changing technologies. Again, not just Tesla, also OpenAI, also XAI, also NVIDIA, potentially also Google and Microsoft. But definitely Tesla. And we are in the most rapid and insane acceleration of human progress, of human technological progress. I mean, civilizational progress. Let's see how this all ends. There's definitely some risk on the horizon, or not just on the horizon. But technologically and economically, it's going to be insane. Absolutely guaranteed to be insane. I can't even I always make these predictions and they come out of left brain, not right brain, because I'm just looking at my sheets and projects like, ooh, this is pretty crazy. But the craziest thing is when my right brain merges with the left brain because some crazy stuff happens. Like I'm on ChatGPT and today I saw they connected all the apps now. Since today, you can connect Google Docs and Dropbox and everything and it reads everything.
Wow.
That's an enormous breakthrough that happened today. So that's insane. And I thought more about goals, like goal generation. I don't want to go too deep into that, but that the AI very soon will anticipate your goals and work overnight to actually do stuff for you. We are working on something, Pioneer Lens, on this. But people don't understand how insane everything is right now. And the repercussions on everything, like Elon's AI plan that will come true probably in 18 months, is that you sit there and you can have factories designed and deployed in totally new things. Elon can say, you know what? China has 200x the shipbuilding capacity of the United States. For example, just a random example, wouldn't it be nice? And that's trillions, tens of trillions, right? Ships. Have you heard of ships? They're kind of important. They're very big. There are lots of them. And if Elon says, you know what? I want to build drones and ships just randomly. These are trillions and trillions of dollars. He wants to be in a situation where he presses a button and doesn't even just build everything. Just figure it all out and build everything. And people think this is completely nuts. What I'm saying, in 24 months, it's not going to be nuts anymore. I'm not saying he can do that in 24 months, but in 24 months, people will understand we are on track. He will be on track of having a button to say, create a drone army. Everything, supply chains, factories, everything. This is all happening as we speak. There is nothing about that that's impossible anymore. Nothing. Everything is extremely possible. It's just a question of a little GPUs and scaling.
Yeah, with all the things.
Let that sink in, Pejjy. Think about this. Is insane.
I mean, the first lady was talking about this, saying that we're entering an age of
Trump. She's like, yeah, Joe's right.
Self-driving cars and robots. They're here. They're not coming. They're here. So we need to.
Whatever you think, I'm very US critic. Also, like, there's lots of shit going on in the United States, but look at this dinner, Melania and Trump hosting these people around this table, these 30 people. Do you know how superior the United States is right now?
Yeah.
In terms of this stuff? There's the
AI
president,
and
the
stuff like
first
that.
lady, and 30 people who represent what? 80% of the entire world market cap of the most advanced tech companies. They're all sitting at a dinner table, and Shamath discussed like what they actually discussed. It's a pragmatic work meeting. There's, you know, each one says, "Thank you, Mr. President, for your support. These are the 5 things that annoy me right now." That was the dinner. Apple.
Yeah.
Here we are being hindered. In India, we have a problem. Here the margins are too low and the tariffs are dangerous. Here we would love to have this change. And Trump, okay, note, I take the notes. Let's get it done. Next one, OpenAI. Oh, we have this and this and this. If we would solve that, that would be very good. Okay, noted. Boom. David Sachs taking notes. 1 week later, solved. Do you know what that, like, they're going to kill it. I think China is also very, very strong. But I'm saying compared to Germany or Canada or something, they might not compete on that level.
That's right. In terms of like going forward like that, of course, the United States is positioned well. And someone like Trump, who also favors Elon as well, who actually listens
And
to
not
him
just
too.
Elon, by the way. Trump wants to win. And Trump is smart enough to understand I need these 30 people. I need
That's
Larry
right.
Ellison. I need Elon Musk for sure. But I also need Bill Gates. I also need Sam Altman. And he just have, and Zuckerberg and, you know, Satya Nadella and so on.
These powerful guys, yeah.
Like, he understands that this is how it works. He needs these people, and these people know they need him, and they have formed a team. That's insane. Think about this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I like to see, to be honest. But sheesh, the future is gonna be in flipping same.
So it's like a merger. It's because of Trump. Like, Trump is a decisive historic figure. But
That's
because of him, this has been merged, the interest of the United States, the entire force of the government, with the interest of the biggest tech companies, and before all of them, Elon and Tesla. Because it is the most important company for the United States right now. Solves the energy problem, solves the labor problem, solves all kinds of problems.
Exactly. I'm with you on there. It's going to be very exciting to see what's going to happen. Sheesh. Thank you, Joe, for coming on. Awesome discussion. Always a pleasure having you on. And again, if I wasn't so crazy here in the Middle East, I would have had you on once a week. And then, because people love it, man. People love these podcasts. They do. And I love it too. I love it a lot.
Me too. It's like always, it's important to have discussions, and we live in exciting, crazy times. It has never been more important to watch the right YouTube channels, because this is not being discussed with the New York Times. It's only discussed on Pejjy and on Pioneer Lands and Joe Bhakti and Herbert, like the key channels to shape the future. And I'm kidding a little bit, but not too much. This is very important. We need to constantly now simulate what's going to happen and understand this on a first principle level, because things are changing extremely rapidly and on an accelerated timeline. And
that's right.
Making the right decisions directly translates into money right now.
That's right. This is why I love having Joe on. Love it. Everyone go follow him on YouTube, on X, and join his Pioneer Lands in the description. Some spicy things coming on there. Thank you, Joe. And we'll see you in the next episode. See ya.